Well, good Thursday morning, South Central. We've been dealing with some widespread heavy rain as you head out towards the Gulf Coast region. We've also been talking about the potential for some of those gusty winds, which we did see yesterday. Portage did see a max wind gust up to about 70 miles per hour right around midnight last night. That was the strongest wind gust that we have seen so far. But now what we're going to be watching as we welcome in the mid-morning, early afternoon hours, that downslope that kept us on the drier side for western South Central as well as through the Matsu Valley. That downslope is weakening and we're beginning to see rain showers spreading across the western Kenai. Now this is a live look outside overlooking Eagle River. You can see those overcast skies remaining with us. Notice off in the distance that as you look to the bottom right, you notice somewhat of a foggy looking the skies. That's that rain that's already beginning to push up Cook Inlet. So we're beginning to see some of that activity gradually build up Cook Inlet and eventually going to make it here in the Anchorage Bowl as well as out towards the Matsu Valley. You may have also noticed as you get outside, those leaves are beginning to change. Now what we're going to be watching here as we welcome in the afternoon hour or as we welcome in the next couple of weeks is that gradual progression of our fall foliage. Now here in Anchorage as well as out towards the valley from Palmer, Wasilla, even farther north, well, we're beginning to see that progression underway. Fairbanks already seeing those colors near if not surpassing that peak, and then as you head out towards southeast, beginning to see that start of that fall foliage, although southeast typically lags behind the rest of the state as a whole. Now, if you are driving along the Glen Highway out towards Glacier View, that's where you're also going to see those stark color contrasts where we're really beginning to see that fall foliage peak. So that's just a quick look at that autumn viewing that we do have when it comes to that fall foliage. But now we're shifting to that weather pattern that we've been tracking the past couple of days. We've got that area of low pressure just to the east of Kodiak. That continues to weaken as it drifts to the north. In fact, what we're going to be watching here this morning into the afternoon hours, that low east of Kodiak and then the low out towards southwest Alaska, those are going to phase together and become one giant low that's going to encompass a large portion of the state from southwest Alaska out towards the Alaska-Canadian border. And that's going to keep those rain showers with us. You can see out towards southwest Alaska through Norton Sound, maybe southern parts of Seward Peninsula, dealing with some showery weather out towards Gamble, St. Lawrence, maybe dealing with mostly cloudy to overcast skies with some sprinkles in the forecast, but largely expecting fairly dry conditions for you. You can see the heaviest rain continues to build into parts of South Central, and there is that rain that is pushing into the Cook Inlet region. You can see over the last 48 hours where we've seen that bullseye in the amount of rainfall. Portage already approaching well over 5 inches of rainfall. That doesn't mean that areas out towards Whittier is likely seeing higher amounts, and that is what we were talking about the past few days, that Whittier, Portage, western parts of Prince William Sound will see most of the rain with this system. Homer only 1/4 of an inch over the last 48 hours. Meanwhile, from Kenai, Anchorage into the valley, we've seen some slight shower chance. Most of that occurred yesterday morning, really overnight Tuesday into Wednesday, when we did see that better potential for that rain across western parts of South Central. Once that downslope kicked in, thanks to our southeasterly winds, that effectively dried us out for the most part yesterday, and we did even see some peaks of sunshine in the forecast. So this is what we're talking about, the phasing of those two lows. So that low near Kodiak and then that low in southwest Alaska. Those two are merging together and creating an even bigger low, and that's going to keep that showery weather with us. Now, by no means will we see any winds like we saw yesterday. This is more so just going to keep that overcast weather pattern with us, more of a south to southwesterly flow for at least the first part of the morning. And then what we're going to be watching as we progress through the day, that low will begin to move eastward, and that's going to keep that showery weather with us across South Central. Now, as that low into the evening hours begins to make an approach towards the northern Gulf of Alaska, we will see some of those winds increase once again as you head out towards Prince William Sound into Golcana, the Copper River Basin. We could see some winds of about 20 to 40 miles per hour, but that's likely going to arrive towards the evening hours. The rest of South Central may just see some light breeze throughout the day with that rain staying with us. And we're going to see that activity beginning to diminish as we welcome in the the afternoon, or as we welcome in your Friday, becoming more isolated and scattered in nature. And then we're going to begin to see a transition to a brief period of sunshine Saturday. Notice out towards southeast. Notice that streamline of that white, the winds that's highlighted as white. That is what we're going to be watching as well. That's going to keep that flow of moisture in the panhandle, as well as more widespread rain to be expected for a good portion of this weekend into next week. So this active weather staying with us, but again, by Saturday we should see some dry time here in South Central. So let's put this in motion for you. There's that area of low pressure that is currently merging or phasing with that low that we have in the Gulf of Alaska. As that happens, you can see it shifts to the east. Also, look out towards the Aleutians, fairly dry for areas about west of Unalaska. As we do have a ridge of high pressure that is building into parts of the northern Pacific Ocean, and that's going to keep things fairly quiet for the time being. That is likely going to change, though, as we welcome in the weekend. So the area of low pressure pushing across the peninsula later this afternoon into the evening hours will keep that rainfall with us. Notice as we welcome in Friday, that activity begins to die down, becoming more isolated and scattered in nature. Even out towards southeast, we'll begin to see some of that widespread rain beginning to taper off, and that is what's going to lead to some dry time as we welcome in the weekend. But you notice by Saturday morning we've got another frontal system that's impacting western Alaska down through the Aleutians. This will kickstart another wet weather pattern for western Alaska, which will also keep things on the cooler side. We're likely going to be talking about highs for western Alaska through the Aleutians staying in the upper 40s and lower 50s. So still seeing this active and for the most part showery weather across much of the state. We're going to see temperatures today across South Central staying in the mid to upper 50s. So how much additional rain are we going to see across the region? Well, the heaviest again is going to occur through Prince William Sound, adding on to what we've already seen. You can see out towards Whittier, we could easily pick up another 2 to 4 inches of rainfall out towards Whittier, while a large portion of Prince William Sound sees about 1 to 5 inches of rain. So we're going to continue to see some of that heavier activity there. Western parts of South Central, not out of the realm of possibility that we could see a few areas top out near an inch, but I think on average we'll see about 1/4 of an inch to near an inch of rainfall. Anchorage may sit just under 1/2 inch of rain, but we are going to continue to keep this chance of rain with us here over the next couple of days. So be prepared for that heavy activity through Prince William Sound, and again, those winds do increase later this evening from Whittier, Valdez, Cordova, and into the Copper River Basin, where we could see some gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Meanwhile, as you head out towards southeast Alaska, we're also watching areas out towards Yakutat, which could top out near 7 inches of rainfall. This is adding into the mix of what we've already seen yesterday. So this wet stretch of weather remaining with us. We're also going to see some of those breezy conditions throughout the remainder of today, with gusts anywhere from about 20 to 40 miles per hour for parts of the Panhandle. And rainfall is not going to be uniform across southeast. You notice the northern Panhandle areas, really Juneau and points northward, will see some of that heavier activity here over the next couple of days, while the central Panhandle may see 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall. Out towards Ketchikan, looking likely we could see up to an inch. So not uniform when it comes to that rain. Some areas will see some of that drier weather and some dry time to be embedded within that, but we certainly are going to continue to watch this outlook that shows that a large portion of the state will continue to see this tilt towards wetter weather. If you remember, we were talking about western Alaska and the Aleutians tapping into that frontal system this weekend. That's also where we're beginning to see that bullseye for an increased chance for seeing above average precipitation. So we'll be watching that as we welcome in the middle of the month as we continue to see this active and wetter weather pattern staying with us. Temperature wise, most locations staying in the 50s and the 60s, and for the foreseeable future, that's what we're going to see across a large portion of the state. The only exception, Utqiagvik, Deadhorse, Anaktuvik, out towards Wainwright, really areas north of the Brooks Range may see a trend with those temperatures dropping down into the 40s. Gamble, St. Lawrence, likely will see those temperatures for the foreseeable future staying in the 40s, if not some days where we could see some lower 50s. So those are the cooler locations we'll see across the state, but the rest of Alaska likely will continue to hold on to highs in the 50s 50s and the 60s. Fairbanks has the potential today to warm near 70. Even if that doesn't happen, still going to be a beautiful afternoon and warm compared to the rest of the state. Looking at that 7-day forecast, you can see pretty much more the same. Highs right around 60 degrees. You can see there's that peaks of sunshine returning as we welcome in your Saturday. Sunday and Monday, still largely expecting dry conditions, but can't rule out a slight shower chance as we begin to see that influence from that system that's impacting western Alaska by Saturday. And then Tuesday and Wednesday looks to really bring that widespread rain back into south central. So we will see some dry time here and there. Saturday is the day you want to get outdoors before that rain does return. And again, Sunday largely on the drier side, but we can't rule out some stray showers in the forecast. So we're going to stay right around the mid to upper 50s, if not near 60 degrees. Overnight lows in the 40s. For the what we typically see when it comes to our first freeze in Anchorage, that typically occurs right around September 24th. So we still have some time before we do see our first freeze. And as far as snowfall, we typically do not see our first average snowfall until the middle of October. Of course, we do have those years where we have seen some snow in late September, but that does not look likely right now, as we are going to continue to hold on to fairly seasonal, if not slightly above average temperatures, with highs staying right around the upper 50s and the lower 60s. So one more live look outside. Again, you can see just off to the bottom right of your screen where we're beginning to see that rain build in across the Cook Inlet region, pushing into the Anchorage Bowl and the Matsu Valley. So again, that's going to stay with us through a large portion of the day. Some dry time to be expected, but this wet weather pattern is here to stay for the foreseeable future. We'll have more coming up in the noon show as well as in the evening newscast. For now, be safe out on those roadways and have a great Thursday.